All right. Welcome, Namrata. Thank you so much for being part of the 26 Ideas Young Founders Inspirational Series. We are super happy to have you today.
So am I, Vinay.
For everyone who doesn't know, and I didn't know many of these things, Namrata is not only a CA, partner at Shah and Associates, but a fitness enthusiast who also runs cycles, a rank holder across CA and CS. So it's unbelievable. I'm going to ask you one question. What's the one degree that you think I did not started to study and I left?
Started to study and I left is nothing. But actually, before I went on to get into commerce, this is way back after I passed my 10th, I really wanted to do science. I wanted to get into IIT.
Yeah. Oh wow.
So that's something that stays with me always.
And would you believe it if I told you that I actually studied CA for 6 months and I left it?
Oh, okay.
I was I was a 99 or 100 on 100 in math and accounts, and I took up CA. I started CA, and then I got a chance to go to the US, and I actually left my pursuit of becoming a CA and went to the US and did undergrad. So, very few people know that I actually studied CA for 6 months, or at least the pursuit to becoming a CA for 6 months. Interesting. So many stories we have that people don't know, right?
True, very true. So I had enrolled for these certain pre-IIT classes during
Yeah.
school. I used to do really well. Maths again, like you said, I used to be 100 on 100 child. So all of that was somewhere. My thought was I want to get into IIT. Didn't work out, but I'm happy.
Yeah.
Even as a CA, I can contribute to so many things.
Exactly right. All right, so there are two structures to this. There is a few key questions where we'll try to learn from you, listen to you, hear your stories, and then hopefully we get a chance to put you in a spot and ask some things that you probably would not generally speak out. So let's have fun with this.
Sure.
You've been in transfer pricing, and that's a very key aspect. Very few people understand it, and international tax for over a decade. What's that single biggest mistake you've seen startups make when they decide to go global or they go global?
I've seen startups not value enough what they're doing here in India. So
Oh,
much
wow.
emphasis, so much magnification is done for what can happen outside India. Probably the people, probably the customers, what they want. The customer wants us to set up an entity outside India just to bill to them. But what is the real work that you're doing? What is the value that you're creating here, you and your team in India, is often undervalued. And that reflects then, of course, in the transactions, in how you structure. I find that a mistake. So now I think if you heard of this reverse flip that
Yes.
different companies are doing, coming back to India.
Unbelievable. And large
They
companies,
were
right?
headquartered in Singapore, they were headquartered in other countries because they were chasing value in those locations. And now they're realizing the value is really what they're building here.
Yeah. And it's amazing. They are large companies. They're not startups, so they're established companies pre IPO
Used to
or
be
IPO.
startups
Yeah. Yeah. Used to be startups.
who thought who thought the value is outside India, and now they're realizing it's not so.
Unbelievable. Staying on that trend, you've advised FEMA and RBI on FEMA and RBI compliance, and which is related to obviously international transactions or both incoming, outgoing. What's that one rule founders think they can wing it, but they always land up regretting that? And for those who've done it right.
So, if I have to just put it broadly, it is ignoring compliance. They think they want to do the transaction. They're looking only at the business end of the transaction and not giving enough thought to what needs to be done in terms of compliance, in terms of paperwork or reporting, whatever it is. I know it's tedious, but it's important. When done right, it saves you so much time and effort later. When
Yeah.
done wrong, it just the mess it creates, the cleanup it takes is just not worth it. And this is something that still happens even today. Countries outside India, it's easy to set up an entity. You
Correct.
don't even need to transfer funds from India to set up an entity outside India, whether it is the UAE, whether it is the US. You can just create an entity with a consultant there, maybe $1,000 company, and then they start the process of thinking how they want to integrate that company, whether they want to make it a wholly owned subsidiary, or do they want to integrate it with their existing structure. That is something that happens even today,
And
even
is it
after
due
so much
to, I'm
awareness.
trying to put you on a spot on this one. Is it due to ignorance? Is it due to desperation of closing the transaction, or is it just bad advice from the consultants they consult with, or all three?
I would put number one, desperation, number two, bad advice, and number three, ignorance.
You're also a fractional CFO. And what's the
Yeah.
first finance hygiene check you do when a founder brings you in?
It's continuing with what we just spoke about. Ensuring
Compliance.
what they've done till date is compliant, because if it is not, that cleanup takes time. Once we've understood that they are broadly compliant, or at least there is an understanding of compliance. There are two aspects to compliance, Vinay. One is knowing that you have to do something and ignoring it, and one is recognizing the importance of having to be compliant. So as long as you recognize the importance and are on it, it's okay. Sometimes things go a
It's a
little
journey then.
slow,
Yeah.
there's a little here or there, that's fine. So one is making sure that the compliance, and second is understanding how the money flows, because
And
cash is king, right?
how many people land up not investing time for that? Is it still large?
It is it is So, because even today, the culture largely is that the moment you have an idea, you have a minimum viable product, you go out and you want to raise funds. And then once those funds are coming from investors, that accountability in terms of what we are spending on, are we getting enough returns? Are we getting, is that spend making sense? If not today, in the longer run at least, that is lost.
Wow.
So that understanding whether that money flow is right is also important.
Yeah, that's no, I couldn't agree more, right? And you touched upon something, product, MVP, revenue, and hence founders, instead of scaling and building more revenue, jump onto valuations and pitch decks and fundraise, which leads to, you must have seen both inflated and underpriced startups. Underpriced, I can understand the founder didn't know and makes, but inflated to raise. What's that funniest or wildest valuation story you've come across?
There are stories on both sides, and honestly, inflated is not something that I worked on personally, because coming from my background, being a CA, the first thing we are taught is conservatism. That's the principle,
Correct.
right? And it's always my role to make sure we are more realistic, we're more conservative, at least when it comes to valuations. But inflated is the most common story out there in public. Look at the likes of Paytm.
Yeah.
I
Oh my
mean,
god.
you're burning cash, you don't have profit visibility, and you are listing yourself at a valuation which is between 66 to 80 multiple of your revenue. On what basis? Nowhere in the world we are doing that multiple. And it goes through. So that's absolutely crazy to my mind.
All right. You've juggled roles as partner, advisor, committee leader, industry voice. What's that hardest no you've ever had to give a founder, and why?
This comes along quite often, actually, and it happens not just with startup founders but with established corporates also. As a firm which is not a globally named firm, not one of the large accounting firms like the Big Fours, we often get from corporates also something like, "But the Big Four is doing this." But they are advising us and they are okay with this, and we have to go back and say, just because it is the Big Four okay with it doesn't make it right.
Yeah.
It still has to pass through a
Yeah.
certain logical test. And something similar happened with me with a client recently, where they are into one of the upcoming sectors in technology, and they wanted to make an investment in a US entity. they came with the draft document, said, okay, just okay it for us and give us the ODI certification. We need to make the remittance. I went through the document. I pointed out inconsistencies for them, which were putting them in a spot, in fact. So actually, the inconsistencies were with the current FEMA regulations, but they were putting them in a spot. I said, tomorrow, not only will you have a trouble with RBI, but you are yourself having problems if the transaction doesn't go right.
Yeah.
And they come back to me and say, but somebody else who is in the same space is a listed entity is doing this. I said, that does not make it right. The listed
Yeah.
entity tomorrow, if RBI questions, will also have to give answer.
All right, rapid fire. We'll try and put you in a spot. So we're gonna ask a few questions. You don't have time to think. So you can't think.
Sure.
Yeah. Let's try this. Audit or advisory? What gets you more excited?
Advisory any day.
Startup founders, Excel sheets or dashboards?
Dashboards.
One finance myth you would want to bust right away.
Scaling does not mean you have to raise funds.
Interesting one. Dollars, rupees, or crypto? Where would you bet your dollar for the next 5 years?
Tricky one. Rupees.
One word founders should associate you with.
Clarity.
Yeah, that's true. You've said that through and through, right? All right, let's make this last one fun. If you had to explain FEMA's compliance, and hopefully this will not put you in a spot, to a 5-year-old using emojis, how would you do it?
So I think I would use emojis of a rupee, a dollar, and probably those book-shaped emojis, which will
Uh,
imply the
that's a
law.
very serious answer. I was going to think, I was going to put the confused what WTF emoji and like.
So it is coming after that. That's
Sorry,
the fourth
it's good.
one.
It's been awesome, Namrata.
Yeah.
Fantastic speaking with you and hearing from you your insights. Thank you for being part of the 26 Ideas Young Founders Inspiration Series.
Thank you, Vinay, for giving me this opportunity. I really like talking on these topics, and what 26 Ideas is doing through the Inspiration series is I am really positive that it will reach the goal that of inspiring young founders that you're looking at.